Two dope dudes, bringing you the news, leading you to much success with all their insightful views. Do you grow yourself or buy from the top shelf? Are you here to take the reins and gain back your health? Whatever it is, you know the biz. Leave a light, crack a pipe, and let's get on with it. If you want to acquire the knowledge, you don't have to go to college. You can just come hang with Aaron and Dave.
Welcome to the Elevated News Podcast with Twodopedudes. We're a podcast focused on discussing local and national cannabis news and culture. I'm Aaron.
Hey, I'm Dave.
He is Dave. Dave doing a little Dabarooski. I did the Dabarooski first because, I got to talk first. So he gets to do it while I'm talking. What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing well.
How's it's pretty cold out today, huh?
Oh my God. I am mad at Puxatawny Phil or whatever his name is, you know?
I think it's just this week and then we'll probably be over it.
All right, good.
Yeah,
no, I'm not mad at him. It's not his fault, but Jesus, is it cold.
Yeah, it's the polar vortex, man. We got to have at least one.
Bro, I was just talking about this the other day. The first time that I heard the words polar vortex was like 2015, 16, one hit. And we went from 50 degrees. I was outside disc golfing. I remember it distinctly, 50 degrees in fucking shorts and a hoodie. And then the next day, it was negative 50 degrees, bro. It was a 100-degree swing. I was like, what the polar vortex is that?
It's crazy, man.
Yeah. That's it.
It's, weather gets a little wild out here in Chicagoland. It gets a little cold sometimes, but I think it's a good thing too, because I think as a populace, if we all go through something harsh like that, and then it makes the spring and the summer that much better. You know what I mean? We all rejoice as a populace.
Well, I'm into it.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm into it.
Yeah. So hopefully everybody's staying warm, and it's not time to plant outside yet.
No.
So, anything new in the regulated cannabis industry you think is exciting? Yeah.
I mean, who knows, dude? There's nothing that there's always stuff going on.
I know.
Right?
I totally sprung that question on you too, and you were not prepared.
Yeah. Well, hey.
I probably should have asked you before the show so you could have,
Could have told you what was happening before you sprung questions on me.
Things
are okay. No. Nothing super big and drastic yet. But movements are moving, Things are happening.
Yeah, there's some cool new cannabis bills out there. It's
so.
Yeah. There's some stuff happening like as we speak tomorrow, right now. Legislation's happening again, so we'll see what happens. It could be a cool 2025, but we'll see.
Fingers crossed.
I know,
man.
Right? I know, right?
We can do all of them at the same. I don't think that was a gang sign. I didn't mean to do that.
Is that a gang sign? I don't think so.
No,
just crossing both your fingers. No, that's just like some weird alien stuff, dude. Where you're
I don't even know if you're supposed to do that.
Oh yeah, I totally did that as a kid too. Weird shit with Twodopedudes. Oh yeah. Hey, I wanted to. Oh, that's the other thing that I wanted to bring up. I remember. Awesome. That'll be cool. So, you want to do some quick plugs, and then we'll just get into our cool news.
Jump in.
All right, bet. I will do that in just 1 second. Hey, you can find us, the Elevated News Podcast, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all your other favorite streaming podcast apps. Twodopedudes YouTube channel. Please give us a like, leave a review. This helps us reach more people. supportdopepeople.com. Some changes coming there soon. Stay tuned. Yeah, Dave.
Thursday nights. You want to talk to me more? Thursday nights, live and quick reactions, but also for me to help you take your health back in your own hands on YouTube
Mm-hmm.
at Peace, Love, and Cope. That is me. I'll be sitting there.
Yep.
Yeah, with actually a lot of great people, a lot of man, we've seen
It's
so
been so
many
much
cool
fun.
cross-platform folks. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of the folks that are in here commenting on stuff have gone over there and are commenting and joining in on Thursday nights, and I'm so grateful. It's so cool. Um, I know you probably catch me saying wild stuff or whatever, but it's ultimately just literally a place if you have questions about cannabis, if you have questions about the industry, hemp, but whatever, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
be there and I'll give you my perspective on it.
Yep. Honest and open.
That's it.
Hey, I wanted to show you some stuff. This is fun for me because this is where an area you don't participate. Where I just want to make sure my mic was actually working. Had to see the buttons going. But I wanted to share this because last episode was your birthday episode.
Oh,
See here, we got a bunch of happy birthdays from Machograms.
wow.
Trichrome Father, who's Mason Lopez of Sun Drenched Farms.
Wow.
Marky. Kind Buds, Corey
Wow.
over at Kind Buds, Dank Nugs. Look for us on his show on Monday nights at 7 p.m. streaming live on YouTube. You should check him out too. He's invited us on.
Wow.
Our friend here, Alex, the aloof chemist.
Oh my God. What a
David Graff. These were all happy birthday just on the Instagram post from
oh
last
my
week. And I wanted to share that with you because,
thank you all. That's way too nice.
And then we got
Holy cow.
some comments over here on our episode 78. Kind Buds, Dank Nugs, good friend. Grojo, you know who that is.
Yeah.
I got
Let
to
me
call
see.
him
Bro.
soon.
Oh my God, Joe.
Dave
Y'all are too
Vega.
nice.
Happy birthday, Dave. I don't even know. Do you know who Dave Vega is?
Mm-mm.
Me either. So he says happy birthday. Well, thank you, Dave Vega. Even though we don't know
Wow.
who you are,
It
I
doesn't
think it's awesome.
I think do you have this same situation too? Like people with your same first name, there's like an immediate connection.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Every Dave I've ever run into seems to be a pretty okay person.
Yeah. AABBSB 7mm. Love the show. Keep it up. Way to go.
Thank
Steve-O,
you.
you better believe-O. You know who that is. It's my buddy Steve W. Love my bongs. I have many. I use New Water daily, clean weekly. See, there you go.
That's it.
Yep. Hello, guys, from Angelo and I.
Oh, love
And
him.
another comment from Steve-O. But there was a lot of happy birthdays for you. And
Wow, that
that's
is
awesome.
way too cool. I appreciate all of you very much.
Yeah.
I actually had a really good day. It was
Yeah.
so fun to. I didn't
What'd you
work.
do?
I ate great food. I had great company.
Yeah.
You know, I love. Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah.
I'm not like a birthday person. I don't think.
Oh, I know. I
You
don't,
know,
not really.
I'm not against it. I appreciate the love and stuff, but I just want to love everybody on every day.
Yeah, I'm kind
You
of
know
the
what I mean?
same way too. I'm not like the super birthday guy, but like,
Yeah,
you know, it does it's nice to share it, you know?
it's unbelievable. Like it always makes me get all like warm and cozy.
Right,
I'm
for
one of the
sure.
emotional folk, to be honest with you. I probably cry more than anybody around this place. So, yeah, you get me thinking about it too much. I get all teary eyed and
Oh
shit.
yeah. Yeah,
I love
that's
that.
why I don't watch a lot of TV cuz, they
Uh-uh.
try and tug on your heartstrings and I'm not trying. I'm
Mm-mm.
not trying.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Let me show you some stuff. One of our first things
Oh,
here. And
yeah.
we
How
haven't talked about it. And I know other people have talked about it, but we talk about other stuff and then they talk about it weeks later. And other people talk about stuff like this and then we talk about it weeks later. So This was way back at the end of January. Federal prosecutors have indicted a former executive with cannabis multi-state operator Verano Holdings on a charge of insider trading. Anthony Marseco, a former executive vice president at the Chicago-based MSO, allegedly used privileged information regarding a pending merger of Verano and Vero Growth to collect a six-figure profit, according to a Tuesday news release from the U.S. Attorney's Office, Northern District of Illinois. This was early 2022 when they had a definitive agreement to pay $413 million to acquire Minnesota-based Verano Growth, then called Goodness Growth Holdings, only to back out a deal later that year. I think this was probably before we started our podcast, right? Because we've only been doing it like 2 years.
Yeah.
So, what do you think, Dave?
Dude, I don't know, because this is going to have to go through some litigation here. This is
Yeah.
beyond us, because he definitely has claimed, if I'm not wrong, that he is still holding all this shit, right? Oh, no, not him. He made the money.
Right.
And then one of his buddies, oh, that's right.
Right.
That's how I'm sorry, I had to read ahead because I heard about this without getting too deep into it.
I heard about this at work.
Yeah. Somebody made a lot of money from it, and then somebody else lost a lot of money from it.
Did they then narc on the guy who made a lot of money, and that's why this is all happening?
I don't know if that's how it went down or what, but from what it seems like, because like if you read this here, the other guy is the other guy's golf buddies from a private country club, and he told them, and like I know a few people who like we knew the merger was coming between MedMen and Verilife back in the day, right? Like we all knew that fucking thing was happening. It was been in the works for fucking how long?
Right.
So like people were buying into the stocks assuming that fucking MedMen was going to go to the fucking moon or some shit.
Right.
And there had been a couple of times when like in the stock market world, cannabis has boomed. But not really though, right? Like it was back in like, I don't even remember when the fuck it was, 2018, 2020, something of that nature, when like it skyrocketed, and then like it's just buying into the stock market in the cannabis world has not been necessarily the most lucrative thing for anyone.
Right.
So I don't know. I know a lot of people who knew that this trade or that the merger was coming, so everybody bought into MedMen, and then MedMen, the merger was based off the valuation of the company, right? So like MedMen was worth $1 billion on paper or whatever because of their valuation, and then overnight the stock price dropped like astronomically. I don't even remember what it was, and then they were worth like shit. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't remember how it happened or what happened or whatever, but I sure as shit know that a lot of people lost a lot of money, and a lot of people that I was close to too that like were like, oh, I'm gonna buy, $1,000, $10,000 worth, 20, and I knew 2 or 3 people that have 50K of their like retirement and stuff kind of worked over that direction.
This is another thing that the state is actually responsible for, because the state has created this very regulated licensing structure and environment in Illinois where this is proliferated, and it's because of the state's failings that things like this happen. People actually are affected. They lose actual real tangible money.
But I'm
bec-
quite sure, if I'm
I'm just
not wrong,
saying.
and
I'm
maybe
not
I'm
trying.
maybe I'm talking silly right now, but I think I'm right in what I'm saying. I'm almost confident that these companies like Verano and MedMen,
Mhm.
Cresco, whatever, they are not being traded on an American stock
No,
exchange.
it's
They're
they're
being
on.
traded in the Canadian stock
Correct.
exchange and
Trulieve
shit.
is it's the same for Trulieve as well. It's the same for
Yeah. Yep.
Florical,
Yep.
all traded on the Canadian Stock
Yep.
Exchange.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. So, um, yeah, these people doing this understand the risk that you're taking. You're in a syntax market to begin with, and then you're
Right.
also like, not even trading it in your
Right.
fucking the market that you exist in. So you're taking a ton of risk, and like I think people who are doing this know. And if the person's at the country club, okay, like
I mean,
it sucks, right?
I
And it
can't imagine on a Sunday morning taking any advice from anybody at the club. Any
Well, but
you know,
that's
like,
what these guys are, that's how
I
money gets
know.
transferred a lot of times, unfortunately, and, like, that's why people are buying into shit, and that's how people get the funding for their businesses and stuff. It goes down over transactions like that a lot of
Sure.
times, at least in the private sector, right? Like, and I say private, like us individuals, right? Like
Right.
not in the commercialized where like banks and whatever they're doing or corporations and shit. Who knows what the
Well, I
inside
mean,
trading whatever, like
yeah.
that feels weird. I don't know the
I mean,
market enough.
golf is one of those things where you can belong to a nice country club and take your friends or take prospective business partners and actually show off and do things like that. You know what I mean?
But you can respectfully
It's part of
do
the perks
so
thing.
in a ton of other settings too. There's
Yeah.
spas and stuff that you could probably exist at and
Oh
get
yeah.
some
Take them to a Russian bathhouse for sure.
bing, right? Like
Just
there's
get
plenty
beat
of
by some eucalyptus. You'll be fine.
yeah, yeah. There's plenty of ways to schmooze or to get into that market of the schmoozers, you
Well,
know.
I mean, we have those in Illinois. Look at there's one coming up in March. I think it's the B2B, what is it? Flower Hall or whatever.
Oh, yep, yep,
Yeah,
yep.
you know what I mean? That's all like schmoozers and people who want to be schmoozers and people who want to make.
Well, but the thing is, a lot of people
It's
are
not for people
seeking.
like you and I.
There's two ends of it, right? There's the people that are seeking investors, and then
Mhm.
there's the people that are the investors, right? And like both sides are like the investors are seeking businesses to put their money into to kind of see if they can turn
Sure.
some profit. And some of these like loans that people are giving to dispensaries or cultivation centers or cannabis companies are very short term, very um front loaded and kind of
Sure.
like heavy interest rated, and like depending on what you're, I mean, it's yeah, there's not a lot of people willing to give cannabis a bunch of money. So like these places are forced to be vertically integrated to have as much funds as they can to grow a business because they don't have that extra end of it. The funding is just not there. And there's people who are willing to invest into it, but like a lot of these things, the cannabis conventions that are going on,
Yeah.
MJ BizCon
Mhm.
and whatever, those things are for that. It's for those interactions, investors and businesses showing off so that they can kind of partner up and however it works out.
Yeah.
But like even those places, like I'm just saying, you have the same chance of getting an investor at the golf course, at a
Yeah.
bar, bullshitting, or in the spa or whatever, because some of these places that are just high end, people have money. So if you are sitting there next to somebody and you're like, "Whoa, you got a bunch of money? Well, I got a bunch of money, and I do this
Mhm.
with it, and I'm going to invest into this because that's what I do for work, and I know that there's going to be mergers and shit." I understand, like to me, insider trading info and shit. Like, I don't know where the lines
Right.
are drawn,
Yeah.
and I don't know enough insider shit to fucking probably ever break these rules anyway. But like, if you were sitting at the country club with your friends and you were like, "Hey, I'm gonna do this thing," like, and that's what I imagine he's gonna claim here anyway, right? Like the other guy who's lost all the money is like, "What? I was just saying this is what I'm going to do." And
Yeah,
then you followed suit with me and now you've lost money and I apologize. And then, I was able to profit because I know the timing of it better than you do.
for sure.
Right. So, yeah. Insider trading.
Insider trading. No, I mean,
Don't do that.
don't do that.
That's
It's against the law.
and that's you should
And let me tell you, when the
don't do it.
federal government gets involved,
Oh,
you're in trouble.
oh,
Yeah, you don't want
don't
the federal
do that.
government getting you. Here's one. So from our friends at Illinois News Joint, and we are supposed to be talking to uh, some people about this next week on the show as well. Illinois bills would create an on-premises cannabis consumption act. It says here from our friend Jason Brown at Illinois News Joint. You see, I allow the ads on this fine website because I like them, and normally I would have all these ads blocked. That's how you know I like them. It's my
Oh,
friend. Um,
I like that.
so it says, despite complications, cannabis consumption events have steadily increased, and event planners are poised to host more cannabis consumption events in Illinois than ever before. To catch up to this part of the industry, the Illinois General Assembly recently introduced in each chamber identical cannabis hospitality bills that could help alleviate some of these open consumption obstacles. You've been to a couple open consumption events with me.
Yep.
I would. I'm sure everybody would love to be able to participate in a licensed, safe event, and I think it is another access to cannabis, and that's what's important.
Yeah, unbelievably cool experiences. That's
Mm,
the kind of like cannabis. I was talking about this the other day. The coldness of the experience in a cannabis
yeah,
dispensary.
yeah,
And like, this is what people want to experience. They want
correct.
to be able to walk into a place and go, let me buy a joint of that shit really quick. I'll smoke it right fucking here. And if it's fire, I'm about to buy an ounce of that
Right,
shit, right?
right,
And like, that's the way that the consumption side of things or the purchase experience, I think, could get better for
right,
things where this very sterile, cold, come in and look at our empty packaging that we've got on the wall that looks like the brand, but it doesn't anymore because they rebranded or repackaged and that. But we
right,
got, I mean, at least you see the name. There's nothing. It's so
right.
cold. It's so, but
But
the best part of the
again,
experience is
again,
who you stand across from.
that's not the company's necessarily the company's fault.
No,
That
God,
is
no.
because of the
Regulations.
regulations of the state.
Yeah.
So just trying to point that out. I'm just because I want people to understand that it's the state. So it says here they contain identical wording on the Creation for On-Premises Cannabis Consumption Act. I think one might have some hemp stuff in it, and so I was talking to somebody about this, and they were not sure which one they were going to fully back, but we'll find that out. Uh, the On Premises Cannabis Consumption Act provides that a county or municipality may issue licenses for temporary events and hospitality venues that will allow for consumption of cannabis and cannabis infused products, and for the sale of cannabis paraphernalia at such temporary events or venues. A cannabis hospitality venue is a public or private restaurant, bar, or other licensed business that allows communal consumption of cannabis or cannabis infused products on premises. So it sounds like as long as you are a licensed business and you give permission, you can do that.
Uh,
N-
well, I'm wondering if See, the thing is with this is like we've had banned smoking.
Yes, that was going to be my point. So everything so far, my understanding, and I think we've talked about this on one of the past podcasts before. Everything falls under the Indoor Smoking Act, and so
Bingo.
right. So the Illinois Indoor Smoking Act bars smoking in public places, bars, restaurants, any place that has a food license, et cetera,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
why we haven't been able to do it. Why we can't have places that actually sell food or like food that's prepared on site in a consumption lounge. They have to be like an attached restaurant because of
Yeah.
the
And
Illinois Indoor Smoking Act.
well, and we have restaurants by us that have attached smoking lounges that have doors that have a common door to the restaurant area.
Hmm.
So like there are loopholes and ways of getting around some things that might be viable
Are
for
those
some.
are those places allowed to be smoking because of on-site betting? Is that
No, it's
why?
because they sell cigars in there.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So on the one side of it, they put
Hmm.
this like it's a I don't know how
It's a
the
cigaratorium.
frame, yeah, I don't know what the framework looks like as far as how you represent your business to the state, but I know that it's two separate things, and because they have um cigars that they sell there, and they also have like a tobacco machine, like an old school fucking
Oh,
cigarette
nice.
machine and shit,
Yeah.
because the money that they make is whatever smokable or whatever, right? It
Yeah.
falls under the act, and I think
Okay.
that's it. I think like 80% or 90% of your product has to be smokable or something for it to,
Okay.
yeah, like
Well,
retail tobacco stores, or smoking paraphernalia or anything. It has to be smokable.
sure. Well, we'll find some questions or some answers to that next week, I'm sure. So smoking, it says, notwithstanding any provisions of this act, smoking is allowed in the following areas: private residences or dwellings, licensed dispensary,
Yeah, I don't know about that.
hotel and motel sleeping rooms that are rented to guests and are designated as smoking rooms. Hotel and motel establishments may also apply and be licensed under the provisions of this act and may host consumption events detailed in that act. Retail tobacco stores, enclosed labs that are excluded from the definition of place of employment, common smoking rooms in long term care facilities, one convention hall of the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center, and temporary events or cannabis hospitality venues licensed under the Act.
Well,
So then it just goes on to, talk about,
all the licenses would look.
yeah, how the licensors are going to be.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, and that I mean, like, here's the thing. I think we all know how to do it, right? If
yeah.
you, yeah, right? Like if you currently are in a private property,
Hmm.
you are doing the hemp thing.
Sure.
There's plenty of ways that this already happens. The only way,
Yeah.
the only thing that this does, there's a couple of things. It lays framework for other things to happen, but one of the best things is it allows
People to opt in, like businesses to actually opt in and
yeah,
participate.
yeah. There
Are you saying that instead of excluding people, we include people and that's
yeah.
better?
I think that the people who are already doing things, it probably doesn't benefit as much because now you're going
Probably
to have to
not.
pay extra licensing fees and
Sure.
whatever. But I
But
also think that that is something that if you're already doing it, you can go, hey, Now we're backed by the state. We're
Right.
allowed to do everything that we're doing. We're doing it by code, by law, whatever. Now you can be very comfortable in making sure that we are your one stop shop and we're your venue that you use always. And it would help them too. So, like, I guess it's a double edged sword, maybe.
I mean, I other than I don't if they make the licensing expensive, then I don't you know what I mean? That sucks. Like, I guess I'm not necessarily against licensing, but I'm looking for inclusion, not
Well,
exclusion.
and that's
You
what
know
I'm
what I
saying.
mean? Like, if
If
we're
there's a $250 fucking license fee to hold an
Mhm.
event, fine. If there's a $2,500 license fee every
Right,
time to hold an event, then you're out of your fucking mind and
right.
you broke it more than you helped it. So,
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Do you want to see my next favorite? There we go.
oh, yep.
Oh,
Bazinga.
there we go. All right. Sorry about that. Had to figure out what button I was gonna press. So this I'm actually super excited about. Uh it goes on to say here, Illinois News Joint, please go click on their ads, read their stuff, donate money. They're awesome. A recently introduced bill would change the law by increasing the number of plants a patient can grow. House Bill 3498, introduced by Representative Rita Mayfield, would raise the legal cannabis plant limit from 5 to 12, stating a dwelling, residence, apartment, condo unit, enclosed lock space, or piece of property not divided into multiple dwelling units shall not contain more than 12 plants at a time. Interestingly, the first provision mentioning the plant limit in the act was not changed from 5 to 12, but rather still states an Illinois resident 21 years of age or older who is registered qualifying patient under the Compassionate Use of Medical Cannabis Program Act may cultivate cannabis plants with a limit of 5 that are more than 5 inches tall per household without a cultivation center or craft grower license. HB 3498 would also change the definition of a designated caregiver to remove a requirement that the caregiver has not been convicted of an excluded offense and to raise the maximum number of patients that can be assisted to 10.
Awesome.
That is I mean I can't find an issue with this. You know what I
No,
mean?
what?
I'm just saying I can't find an issue with this. Like none of
No,
this is
the businesses wouldn't like it because then, you're able to assist more people. And but I mean, obviously, for all of us who are advocates of this thing, there's nothing, not only is there nothing wrong with this, th- why 12? Why not 20? Why 20? Why not 100? Why 100? Why not fucking
I
5,000 square feet?
sure 100%.
Yeah.
But I think I mean uh, 12 plants is a lot.
No, and it is.
Yeah, you know what I
A-
mean?
And
Like
that's my whole point too, is like, okay, we're making arbitrary numbers up. We're giving, but now here's the thing. If you can do the 12 plants and you're actually assisting 10 patients well,
uh-huh.
and you had the capacity to do more
Sure.
and then help more
Yeah.
patients,
Mhm.
and it was all done medicinally and just keep giving me extensions and
Yep.
license increases and whatever, then we would allow this to be a free market, a thing
Yep.
that would shake itself out to be the best of the best will just be the best, right?
Correct.
Which is like, I mean, it's kind of what happened in Michigan to some degree because you needed to have the caregivers to give the plants to, and then they had to grow, and
Mhm.
like the people who ended up being the better ones made more money. So then when the licensing process came, some really good ones still failed, but like the ones had the money to get the licensing processes taken care of better, and like some people have made it through and some people
Mhm.
haven't and whatever, but like let the market shake itself out with less regulation, and I'm fully for it. And I think
Well,
like
the
a
state's
good
not interested in a healthy market. They're interested in tax how much
and
tax
well, they're
revenue
not
can we make?
interested in less
Be-
regulation
because
because then that's less
right.
work for them.
Well, yeah, less work for them, and the state is insolvent anyway. Uh, you know, due to people that are barely alive anymore. But
Literally. Yeah.
I mean, like they've
Yeah.
got to do something. So, like, as far as the state's doing great because we're actually starting to make a little bit of headway, although it is like a needle in a haystack compared to what we're up against. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I mean, I think that's a great thing. I would love to be
No,
able
it's
to uh,
huge. It's huge,
10,
huge. And,
10
like,
people just to be able to like be able to have leftover cannabis and like not like leftover but like an abundance, and be able to share that with people who actually need it medicinally, and not just like my boys down the street or whatever, but like you
and like
you yeah,
my thing is
that's
there,
huge.
okay, and I love it. I'm
Hmm.
for it.
Yeah.
You and I sitting here can probably come up with like all of the reasons for it and probably the ones that the others would come up with against it.
Yep.
But um this is literally a movement in the most positive way for
Hmm.
cannabis and the future of cannabis
And
in
access.
Illinois at
Yeah.
least, right? But this should be well, and this is a reality in other markets already. You are
Correct.
allowed to have multiple patients underneath you. You are
Correct.
allowed to gift cannabis, period, as
Correct.
long as it's underneath the carry limits or whatever your possession limits are. So, like, as long as you're not aiding and breaking the law, then you can do as you please with the cannabis that you do, right? And, like,
Right.
you also understand that, like, at a certain point, it's going to cost you money and a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of
Yeah.
space and energy bills and water bills so it's not cheap to do this thing, and it's not some like very lucrative thing to do unless you scale up to a very
There's
like some of the
yeah.
5,000 square foot cultivators are failing, right? Some of the 220,000 square foot cultivators are fucking failing. So,
I mean,
the
there's dudes with 200 square feet that can't keep the powdery mildew off. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So like,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's
Touche.
again, it's access to clean medicine. As long as you grow clean medicine, that's what's important. If it's not clean, then you don't use it as medicine. You know what I mean? Throw it
Yeah,
away.
touche.
It's okay. Try again. That's how we all learn. Like, it's not like I've never grown shitty weed. I've grown plenty of shitty weed. It happens. Like, but then you learn.
Yep.
So I wanted to talk about this new thing in Michigan. There's a proposed new cannabis tax that would likely increase costs for consumers and further squeeze an already struggling industry, rep said. Governor Gretchen Whitmer has suggested a wholesale tax on marijuana products, similar to an existing tax on tobacco products, as a means to raise another $470 million to help fund road repairs. And be like a 35% wholesale tax is what this is, uh, which would definitely be passed down to consumers, don't you think?
What's that?
I mean, she is she's saying that they want to do a 35% tax wholesale, which I definitely
Hmm.
think is going to get passed down to consumers in Michigan.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
If that's what happened, that's what would happen. But it's a that's a bit aggressive, honestly. Um,
It says here the increasing the tax burden on the cannabis industry would absolutely devastate the regulated market. And we intentionally kept the tax rate low enough to compete with the illicit market, referencing the 2018 ballot initiative that legalized recreational marijuana in Michigan,
yeah.
which is why Michigan, I think, has thrived.
Well, it, a solid tax rate, but also better access, period, to growing and stuff. It's what they're way it's for the people of this state who are very regulated. They're happy that they got all their regulations because they get to hide behind them at times when they need to, or they get to whatever. exclude others because of it. In a place like Michigan, where the fucking regulations are a little bit less, and everybody has access to get in, and everybody can grow, you know, as big as they want to. And I don't know if it's as big as you want to. I don't know what their max regulations are, but uh, whatever.
Like their
But
square footage.
yeah. Um, but yeah, Michigan just has a better access and they have more people doing it. So that's why it's going the way that it is. It also, like, just initial cost of things, right? Wholesale cost of things is drastically less than what um we deal with here.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, like a raw, like a crew, like a distillate, okay, let's say
Sure.
in bulk out there, um they sell it typically in the kilogram. We deal in grams, right? Because that's what
Right.
we do. A kilogram is 1,000 grams.
Right.
So like, out there in Michigan, you will pay 10 times less for distillate. For the same kilo of cannabis extract, you're going to
Hmm.
pay 10 times less than you will here.
Right.
So there's a drastic difference in initial operating cost to begin with. So implementing, and this is what I was kind of reading here. I went down a little bit further while you were reading just to try and catch up on this thing. Um, Somebody goes on to say, even if the wholesale tax was 10%, for most companies, we're talking about 50% of every dollar of revenue, not
Right.
profit.
Right.
Um, yeah, like, who can do that, right? Like, it's literally 50% of the cost of, like, that's
Yeah.
the most
Absolutely. It's
drastic shit in the world. I don't know who could sustain. I don't know why they believe that that is the best way to go about.
well, because I think what states are just seeing it as money generating, and like that's where we're getting now, is that the state's job is to generate tax money so that it can, spend tax money.
Yep.
I mean, like, what else is there for the state to do? It's not here to take care of the people. It's to make tax money. Period. So, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing Ohio's trying to raise their tax rate already, and they just legalized. Maine, I think, is trying to do something. Another, I couple other states are got some tax stuff. I mean, look at Arkansas. Arkansas just decided that they were going to use tax money to provide breakfast for every uh, child in school in Arkansas. That's what they're using their medical cannabis tax money for. Like, that's better than, like,
The bullshit part
funding the
they promise.
roads. Like, dude, I can't, dude. You go up to Michigan a lot, and I've ridden around Michigan on a motorcycle all over. Michigan roads suck. Michigan roads suck. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, y'all need to fix those roads, but I don't think you got to fucking take a bunch of tax money to do it. I don't know.
Oh, but even in places like
Close down the roads.
well, bro, we live in fucking a state that has a fucking what you call that thing out there? The fucking
Toll
highway.
road. Yeah,
Yeah, the
toll
toll
road.
roads. Yeah,
Sure.
and that was supposed to be a short-lived thing. You know, it's really crazy. I heard about this too. The first tax ever imposed on Americans was by Abraham Lincoln, and it was only imposed for like 10 years. And then after the 10 years was done, the taxes stopped. It was done. But
Hmm.
they did it to pay for the war. And then once that was done, it just got twisted and it's snowballed ever since, right? Like, there's been plenty of different instances, and war has always been a driving factor for
Correct.
taxation, but now, like you said, it's gone into this absolute monster of like deficits and
Right.
like we need to enslave the people to
Correct.
force them to pay our debts because
Right.
we're too busy trying to figure out what to do to keep them safe and secure and whatever the fuck. And like by the time it's all said and done, how fat are they? How padded are their pockets? And how confused are we? And how broke are we? You know, like it's
Right.
so we're getting, and like I said, this is literally the biggest instance of taxation without representation that we have
Sure.
ever witnessed in our lives.
It's
Um,
crazy.
we still continually have people incarcerated, put into jail, everything because of this plan, and yet they're allowed to profit at a drastic rate and to continue to increase their profitability from it, but to continue to criminalize and incriminate you over it, which is the craziest shit.
Right,
Fucking
which is why it's important for people to speak up. And I think people like you and I think other people out there like Cole Preston from the Cole Memo, check him out as well, doing important work. Friends Maddie and Nathan from of Meet Ica and High Focus Media and everybody over there, people talking about this, Mr. CBD, like talking about this, like all of us talking about this within the industry and within the media and trying to talk to other people, I think is actually starting to get people talking in Springfield within the government like, hey, we need to change this, you know? And that's why I think it's important for people like you and I and Cole and stuff like that to actually, you know, have these discussions. I think it's really important because if you don't speak up, nothing's going to change.
I Dude, I'm speaking to state representatives, direct people who are employed by the state, and a few of them. It's like, well, it's just my job to do this. I just have to do the thing, and the whatever. It's so. But they also are very empathetic to what we are going through, and they very much so like, yeah, it's crazier than hell. There's no like there's no way that we should be taxed 40% on
There's,
this thing of anything,
there's no
right?
way we should be taxed 40% on federally legal THCA hemp that's being sold in dispensaries.
Yeah, well,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
100%, but it's also too, it's like, um, if this is the thing that you are believe needs to be taxed at that rate, we need to check back up and do it on alcohol again. And we
yeah,
need to check back up and do it on nicotine again. We need to check back up and do it on fucking sugar.
right.
Okay. We got a better chance of saving. If you were, I heard somebody the other day say something to the effects of like, the government is like the parents and the people are like the children of whatever, and the parents are supposed to keep the children safe, so the government, that's there. And I was like, wow, this is a crazy interpretation, but we've kind of lost touch with that right now. Like we are far from keeping anybody safe with the shit that we're doing. And how do you know better than I do what I need for myself, especially when we're talking about like
Right.
cannabis, right? Because
That's why individual liberties is the most important thing.
well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if this is what we're saying, is that that's what the state's job is, and the
Mhm.
government's job is, as according to some of the, you know, if you conceptualize it in this light.
Sure.
But if your job is to keep us safe and to protect us and to do whatever, if you understand that cannabis has a mortality rate of about zero,
Yep.
and sugar directly alone in diabetes, right? Like we're not talking all the other health related because of poor diet that goes on. There's like 200,000 plus deaths. Is that what we found out the other day? Just due to
Yeah.
fucking diabetes a year or something
Yeah.
crazy like that. So, and then I think once you put in all the heart diseases and all the fucking obesity and just whatever it is that comes into play, I think we're talking closer to a million plus, and that's all derived from this poor diet, which is sugar,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
So tax sugar at 40%.
Well, they
You know,
tried that. They tried the sugar tax, but people freaked out.
yeah,
We
and
need
that's
people
what
to
I'm
freak out
saying.
about this tax.
Bingo, bingo, bango.
But I mean, try telling the state that you know what, the state's never going to say, hey, you know what, we're not going to take as much tax anymore. We've taken enough tax. We're going to tax less. Like,
Yeah,
how do you make that happen? Like, because you know that once they take something away, getting it back is 10 times harder. You know what I mean? And 9 times out of 10, they're not giving it back. Right.
yeah. I mean, yeah,
So
it's
how do we get the state to overhaul the fucking whole cannabis regulation and tax act?
yeah,
Because I mean that's what it is. We need to throw out the cannabis regulation and tax act and write
yeah,
something new.
yeah. Well, the cannabis tariff act. I'm just kidding, dude. I'm just fucking around. But
I mean, that would imply that we could take cannabis across state imaginary lines.
oh,
You know what I mean? Some imaginary lines, some, interstate commerce, so to speak.
yeah. Never mind. I'm surprised. Yeah, it's like quoting things. Anyway, I don't know.
Hey, before we go into know your secondary terpenes with Dave, have you been downtown Oswego lately?
No,
Did you know that Oswego banned Delta 8, THCA, hemp, et cetera, et cetera? You know
no,
that there's police barricades right next to the church?
no.
Yes, you should go downtown Oswego. This is what I've heard. This is what I've heard. I have not seen this personally, but this is what I have heard.
Shut the fuck.
They're still open, but there's like police barricades there.
I'm going.
I thought you might.
I'm
Please
going.
call me. Please call me. Tell me if that's true.
I'm gonna
Anyway,
go find out. Yeah.
Batavia, I was reading earlier, was also thinking about banning CBD and Delta 8 and et cetera, et cetera. Except now they have decided they may just do a more licensing thing because they realized that they were going to put a bunch of businesses out of business within their city by arbitrarily banning something that's federally legal. Isn't
Yep.
that crazy?
It is wild.
But Oswego, they said no way.
Yep. Aurora's
Anyway,
been kind of bunk about it for a while too.
yeah, I saw Papa J's closed down on Lake Street. I know Wildleaf's still active, but they
Yeah.
didn't really fuck with THCA or hemp or Delta 8 too much.
Right.
And you can go right over to Aurora, Naperville and go to that Wildleaf, and I know they got it there. I
Yeah.
think because they're Naperville. Unless they're not, then they don't.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
hey,
No, your terpenes.
that's gonna be the new thing.
Valencine. Valencine has a lot going for it. Valencine is actually another orangey terp.
Yeah.
And it again, you will run into some of the common things, right? The anti-inflammatories and the anti-allergic is a very cool thing. It's very
Mm-hmm.
good in boosting allergy prevention. But the skin,
Mm-hmm.
I heard that this has some very good. When I went and looked at a few different things, they're looking at it heavily to do with like skin protection, perhaps
Right.
even in like skin cancers and things of
Sure.
that nature. So,
Some like
um,
UV protection.
bingo.
You know what I mean?
Yep. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I think that this probably plays into um, it also this other thing that I wrote it down here too. I just was trying to make sure I fucking got everything. This terpene may improve the efficacy of doxorubicin or something, which is a drug used in chemotherapy. But
Oh, okay.
um, bingo. So when I've talked about in the past, like cannabis doesn't have to be an alternative to as much as sometimes it can be a partner to. And a lot of
Hmm.
times, just adding some of this in with the other things going on through other forms of treatment help all of those other treatments kind of work a little bit better, also. So, I thought that this was a kind of cool one. Once I started to read into it a little bit deeper, yeah,
It
that's
says
it.
also it's a rich in citrus, and it makes a highly effective bug repellent, which is
Bingo.
why like the tangies and the stuff like that are good for outside because of the citrus.
Bingo.
It's a good keeps the
Heavy
mosquitoes away.
limonene, heavy
Yeah,
mangosteen,
absolutely.
heavy, uh, yeah, I mean, all of Valencine.
Yeah.
All of these things will definitely help you prevent bugs,
Yep.
but also give me some of my favorite flavors, like
Grapefruit.
in Mandarin Skittles
Yep.
or
It
what was the
says
one? Florida Orange. Oh my god.
Agent Orange, Tangy, Pineapple Express all have high levels of Valencine, apparently.
Yeah,
Your mileage may vary. Check where you're, you know,
prices
check
and
it before you look.
participation may vary.
Yeah, cash and carry only, et cetera, et cetera. Oh yeah. Also, before we end, I just thought of something I probably should have said during plugs. But the Saturday Fox Valley Growers Club at Sessions Lounge in Carroll Stream, you should come hang out. Up to 20% off on some grow supplies that are there, and we're gonna do like a swap meet. Uh, Spring clean out, so bring your used cleaned equipment or new equipment, and see if somebody wants to buy it or swap it. Come on, come hang out. It'll be fun.
Bingo bango.
Bingo bango. You got anything before we go, Dave?
Don't forget to smile, friends. It's
Yeah,
good.
smile.
Yeah. Enjoy.
Smile.
Yeah.
And join us next week. We got some cool guests coming on to
Oh
discuss the
yeah.
Indoor Consumption Act, and I believe it is indoorconsumptionact.com. I'll link it on the page and in the notes on this one. Other than that, we love you all. Smoke weed every day. Peace.
Yo, ding dong, we're done here. Time to go.